Hi, everybody, and welcome to Music Career Radio on YDIY Music. I'm your host, Nani Noam Vazana, and my guest this week is Ro Halfhide. He's the co founder of the Amsterdam Songwriters Guild, a jury member at Grote Prijs van Nederland, and DIY singer songwriter and producer who showcased at Eurosonic Noorderslag. Together, we will explore ways for independent musicians to jumpstart their international careers on their own. And as you know, this podcast is a part of my course for independent musicians, Why DIY Music, and it's a free resource for everyone who is aspiring to launch their independent careers on their own music careers. That has to be said. So you can find out more on ydiymusic.com, and you can also support our scholarship program because we have a scholarship program for independent musicians, and you can send a donation to ydiymusic.com/donate and help us and many musicians that deserve a better education. You could also send a direct PayPal transfer to paypal.me slash Noam Vazana. So let's bring on the guest on. Hey,
Hey, hello. Yeah. Hi. Hi, Noam. How are you?
good.
Uh, thanks for inviting me to your show. I'm
Thanks for
honored.
coming and sharing your information with and experience with our audience because I think, the music industry is a bit treacherous at times. So we need all
Yeah.
the help we can get.
All right. I'm happy to help, and yeah, I'm sure there'll be some stuff that I can contribute. Yeah.
Thanks. What I really like about you in general is that you have this energy about you because you're like a thoughtful person. And we had a lot of chances to work together. And I
Hmm.
always remember that you dedicated a lot of thought to each and every step of each of your productions, even if it's not a project, even if it's a small task or an action made within a project, you still had to. Build up this thought process and lay it down really carefully, which is really, really important for independent musicians. You don't really jump in heads first and ask questions later. So, how does
Hmm.
this approach affect your work in the music business in general?
Well, I am glad you say that. It's something that I do often. Um, I noticed that to be well prepared is always a good thing. So if I have, for instance, a production I have to do with an artist, then I always try to understand the artist before I start the project. I prefer to have a chat first and really get to know the person, um, and in that way become more of an asset to that artist, so I can really help him get a
Mm.
good production, for instance. Um, yeah, there's a small pitfall. You have to sometimes really after you've done your pre- your preparation, you really have to start. It's not like prepare for just keep preparing until you feel completely confident, because sometimes you just have to really start. That's something I learned along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think procrastination is something a lot of musicians struggle with.
Yeah, they think they're underprepared, and maybe they are, but sometimes you just have to also just yeah, you have to prepare yourself to a certain point, and then you have to
Yeah.
really go for it, because otherwise other people are jumping in your place, stepping
Yeah.
in your place.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
a
so
little.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think preparation is really important, and also you have to plan, so you know when to start to really start, like start with a production process, or start writing a song, or um, start to approach a certain key industry figure, that kind of stuff. You shouldn't wait too long. You have to prepare, but then you have to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least from my own experience, I feel that there is a learning curve also in these actions. So, like for instance, if I prepare a song and I practice it a lot at home, it's still not going to be the same when I'm going to play it on stage. So, the stage hours, for instance, are also a
Yeah.
practice that you need to get. And if I'm talking
Yeah,
to
you have to.
industry people, this kind of dialogue that you start out. is very
Yeah.
important because you will not have practice in this specific method of communication prior to actually approaching them and asking them a question. So yeah, sometimes you know that you've prepared a lot yourself, but then the next stage is a learning curve in another issue or another skill.
Yeah, I always say playing live is like 10 times the amount of time that you spend rehearsing.
Mm,
It's sort of
yeah.
so if you play something live, then you really know it, you know, and then it's
And then you
different.
really know if the song is good also.
Yeah.
In my case, because only
Yeah.
have me to judge, like maybe I played for some friends, but
Yeah.
and my friends are musicians, which is not really my audience. I feel sometimes that I don't write my music for my musician friends. I write my music for my audience, and that's a very different public.
That's true, and you really have an audience. Uh, um, yeah, that's something that a lot of starting artists they they they're not having an audience yet. They have friends and family. They are their audience, which is fun.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, when you become bigger, if you become bigger, then you'll have people that have a completely different background, completely different connection to your music. That's true.
Yeah.
That's something that you know more about than me because I'm still sort of I'm starting to my music is now getting more into the ears of people that I don't know, put it that way.
That's
That's
wonderful.
starting to happen. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like your
But
song.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, and I
I
think
have
it's
one of your
important to
albums.
know. Sorry?
I have one of your albums, Louise.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a new one coming out, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm working on that. Yeah, how does that work for you, writing for an audience? I think you also have several audiences because you have your Ladino music and you also have your singer-songwriter music.
Yeah, that's true. I do deal with a lot of types of audiences, and I also sometimes write for film or for theater. So that's also a
Yeah.
completely different audience. And you also work with a director, which is different. Like
Hmm.
when
Yeah.
you're a singer-songwriter, you're kind of used to tackle all the problems on your own, but also make all the creative decisions on your own. And
Hmm.
unless you have a producer,
Yeah.
and that's usually after you've written the song. It's usually the producer comes in the arrangement stage. So still all
Yeah.
the decisions about the composition you make yourself. And then if you
Yeah.
work with a director, like many times you don't make the decisions yourself, which is a completely different set of work as I knew it before. And
Hmm.
also, if you look at the music that I write, so yeah, it's true. You mentioned that I do singer-songwriter repertoire in one on one side, and then on the other hand, I also do traditional music, Ladino, Sephardic
Hmm.
music. So yeah, so there's different types of people who come to each concert.
Yeah.
Um, I, in a way, I don't really try to satisfy the audience so much
Hmm.
with writing songs, but I do take them into consideration when I write the song because I feel that it's 50% for me, 50% for them. Because,
Okay.
if I write it only for myself, I could also sit at home and never publish my songs.
True.
Um, yeah. And
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe also a thematic writer. So, like, I like having a theme to write about. I don't just out of the blue start writing something that's not connected to anything. So also the
Hmm.
albums that I bring out are concept albums.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a connecting theme also between the songs.
Yes,
Right. That's great. Hmm.
I guess that's appealing for the public as well because you can
Yeah.
appreciate a larger scope of work um,
Yeah.
from one composer in one album. Yeah.
I try to I try to get some sort of a connection between the songs, but it's not as much thematic is more that it is like the way it's been produced, for instance. So it sounds different, or
Yeah.
I mean, I have the album that's coming out. I've produced together with a friend of mine called MJo,
Oh
whose
yeah. Mark.
his name is Mark,
Yeah.
and it has a distinctive sound because we recorded most of it in his living room, and he made lots of artistic decisions.
Hmm.
So that's for me, that's like a body of work, like a one yeah one group of songs that can fit on an album.
Nice.
And I'm now uh, producing songs on my iPad, starting out on my iPad actually. It's a new thing for me. I think the whole lockdown sort of accelerated that process for me. Um, but I already started before the lockdown because I was because because of the schools are closed now. But I was teaching music to kids, and there was one school that had where all the kids had iPads. So I was like, hey, maybe they can do something with GarageBand. And I think maybe half of the kids already worked with GarageBand because it's on their iPad and they just started experimenting with it. And the other half didn't know about it. So we started to work with GarageBand, and I have to say, I didn't know much about it myself either. So actually, some of the kids actually taught me some tricks, and it's nice to start with it and to let the kids work with GarageBand. So that way, I also got to know the program a bit more and what its capabilities are.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really struck a nerve with me. I found out that it's the creative process is so distinct from working on a computer because you can do it anywhere and it's synced between your phone and your tablet. So it doesn't matter what you have. If you're out and about and you only have your phone, you can still pull up your project and it's there, and work on it because actually the functionality of both the iPad and the iPhone version is completely the same, so you can do the same things. And it struck me how much you can do with it, and how much musicality is in the program, much more than I was used to with the other programs I've used. And the sounds are all brilliant, so it all sounds so good already. And then I noticed you can actually import it in Logic, and it will import 1 to 100%. So the sound is completely the same. Yeah. So then you can finish it, and you can start comping. Don't know if I have to explain what comping is, but yeah, it's comping is like you have different. You have, for instance, you've been singing your vocal line like 4 times, and then you can draw them under each other, and you can choose which part you want to do, and that's called comping.
Oh, it's like editing, basically.
Yeah, it's like editing. Yeah.
Okay, I thought
You
meant
cannot do this in GarageBand, but you can sing a couple of takes and it will record over each other, and then you have 4 takes. But you cannot do the real comping, but you can do that in Logic. And Logic has lots more sounds, and you can use your plugins, of course, that you have, that you don't have in GarageBand. So yeah, you can just finish off the project.
So how do you connect like a sound interface to the iPad or a microphone?
Yeah, that's actually also possible. You can use, it's quite interesting. I don't have it with me now, but you can use, Apple calls it a camera connector or something like that, because mostly it's used for a camera, but you can put anything on it. It's basically a Lightning to USB connector,
Mm-hmm. And
because
then you
as
can
you
put
know,
like the regular
and you can put
interface.
any USB interface you can put
Okay,
in there. I
great,
have a USB mic from Rode, and I put that in, and it just works. You can
great.
also put in any audio interface with USB. Uh, or yeah, and it either USB-C or USB-A, so yeah, it doesn't matter. Um, so basically, you can do a lot with it, and it's a nice way to accelerate production. Because if you're lying in your bed and you have ideas, you can just get your iPad out and just start recording,
Yeah.
start mixing, start adding some layers to your songs. It's more playful than having to go to your yeah, you can, if you even if you have a laptop, you still have to open up your laptop, and uh, yeah, it's for some reason also the whole interface is of course touch based, so um, they really did a good job in accelerating the artistic process, the yeah,
Nice.
creative process. So yeah, shout out to that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, I call the cultural sector job, let's say, an ideological job. Did you always know that you wanted to be a music professional? You always had like some kind of an ideology about it?
Um, as a kid, I was always making music, um, but it never dawned upon me. I never realized that I could become a musician. For some reason, that didn't. I don't think there were enough examples for it. And I was also interested in science, so I always thought I would become a scientist. Um, but I think I had to learn to appreciate my function as a musician in society. And once you feel it, once you feel the amount of gratitude that you get from your audience, whether it's playing on a wedding or playing in a bar or playing in a theater, yeah, once you really feel that, then you start to become more strong in your conviction that you are a musician, that you have a function to play in society.
So did
Is
you have
that
another job
also
before?
what you're? Sorry?
Well, I was wondering if you had another job before.
Yes, I did. I was a marketing assistant
Really?
for a while in a high tech company, which also involved a lot of creativity actually, because I had to I had to design posters, or or I had to write press releases, or yeah,
Yeah.
basically make photos of the products. It was a really nice job actually, but it's the creativity was more in the graphic design part
Yeah.
instead of the music. But it's both creativity. I had to also build the website, stuff like that. That's quite
That's a lot of stuff.
yeah, quite a diverse function. I really enjoyed it. So I did that for a while. For 5 years, I've done that. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, always
Yes.
creativity was always important to me for some reason. Yeah,
So you did have some sort of, let's say, a red thread, uh,
yeah.
silver
Because
lining.
the
Yeah.
moment they started to want me to also, they wanted me at a certain point. They wanted me to also write invoices and quotes to the customers.
Hmm.
It's like more the sales part,
Yeah.
and I really hated that. I just
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
like it.
I understand. It's the part of my work that I don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind it to do it for myself because I know it's a bigger picture. But yeah, I didn't like to do it for the company. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did learn from it though. That's true. It's something that has to be done.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
maybe it helps with procrastination as well.
Yeah, 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 it's true. Yeah, I saw in your course that you are also saying that because of the course you can do less admin and more creativity,
Yeah,
which
well,
is
I it's more
nice.
about arranging your time in a way and having the tricks how to manage your time in a way that you cut on the administrative part and focus more on
Yeah,
creativity. Yeah. So it's not that you do less administration, but you organize it in a better way that leaves you more time that yeah, to do
yeah,
other things. Yeah.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. It helped me a lot. Like I think all the things that I'm talking about on the course, they're all from personal experience.
Hmm.
So I had all these problems, when I became an independent musician.
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole. I
Yeah,
remember I remember how busy you were with Facebook, for instance.
yeah,
It's such a rabbit hole, you know.
yeah. And to tell you the truth, I'm not a big fan of social media. Like I do it because
No.
it's part of my job.
Yeah,
Um,
of course.
I would rather
Yeah,
meet people in person. That's why I like
yeah,
the live experience the most. I love
yeah.
performing and having the meet and greet function after every show. But I don't like
Okay.
this. There's like this strange pink glass mode, that you have to put on when you start sharing to social media. Because if
What
you
do you
start
mean?
sharing what your life
Pink
is really
glass. You
about,
mean it has to be better than life, better than
yeah, it has to be
reality?
better than life. Exactly.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I don't like it. It's fake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
I have to say I'm not that much on social media anymore. I also think that it doesn't really work as good as it did. Uh, it probably still does work, but if you only focus on social media now, especially the timeline feed of social media,
mhm.
then you miss out on a lot of exposure because people are not really registering anymore um, as much as they used to.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
it's
There's an overflow of information.
yeah. So what I found out is that it really works to use social media, but then to use the messaging part of the social media. So, for instance, Facebook has
Yeah,
the messenger app or the messenger. If you are on the website, then you have the messenger. Yeah, it's a you know what it is like.
yeah,
Of course, on the iPhone, it's a real app. So
yeah.
um,
Also on the Android.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So um, but to use that part of Facebook, so really just to send out messages to to everybody who's online. For instance, you have this list of people that are online right now. So you just send them messages. You copy paste your message about the show that you've got because you want people to buy tickets, and it takes a day, but
Yeah,
you just go for that, and you get all the responses of the people because you're getting a message, so they have to respond if they see it, and they are more likely to see it than they see something on their timeline.
yeah,
And they'll respond genuinely, so they'll say something like, "Hey, nice to hear from you, and how's life? How's the lockdown treating you?" Stuff like that. Um, because lots of these people are really your friends, or people that you've already met, because
yeah.
yeah, that's your Facebook network.
Well,
And
that's on your personal profile, of course. Yeah,
yeah,
not on your business
actually, yeah,
page. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's true.
In
But
my case, most of the people that are on my business page are people that I don't know.
that's true, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm in the phase that I have more people on my personal page than I have on my business page.
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah.
I think it's about the same. But um, yeah. So that's basically the best way to go about it. So you have your Facebook Messenger, you have WhatsApp. You can just scroll through all your contacts. It's in the order of, how do you say that? The
Alphabetically.
Not alphabetically, but just the way the last contacted person is up on top,
Oh
and it
yeah.
goes down, down,
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
So you just go. I actually found out that there's broadcast lists. I didn't know
Yes,
about
I
that.
was about to say you could use broadcast lists.
Yeah, it's true. And I've actually I haven't tried it yet, but I will for the next time because I've made it in the meantime. I've made two broadcast lists, one for Dutch, one for English. But I wonder if it will work. It will work much faster, so it's a time saver. But
Yeah.
it will probably not work as well as sending out by hand.
Yeah, because
Um,
there is a little icon that
oh
tells the
yeah.
person who receives the message, "Hey, this was sent to a group." Yeah,
Oh shit. Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah,
So if you have the time, you
yeah.
probably would want to at least for your top 200 or 300 uh, contacts.
Contact.
That those are the ones who are on top anyway because you've contacted them.
Yeah,
You've been in touch. To just send them a copy pasted message, and preferably with something personal next to it. But if you don't have the time, just send the copy pasted message and wait for responses. Basically, and you get a lot of response, and it's also fun to have all these responses because that's
yeah,
what you're doing it for. And um, normally I sell tickets through my website. So make sure if you have a website to sell
yeah.
tickets
Maybe
on your own
elaborate about
website.
that because a lot of people
Yeah,
don't know how to do it, and they want to monetize their live streams because of because of the
yeah,
lockdown. A lot of people started doing live streams, and they struggle with ways to sell their tickets. So you have websites like
exactly.
Veeps, for instance, so you can sell tickets there, but then you have to be quite renowned to get accepted. And if you sell it through
Which website? Which one?
Veeps,
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And you also have Event Tribe and all the Event Bright, or I don't know what it is, these kind of things. But they take a high
Eventbrite.
percentage
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the, like, and I do it
I've
on
been
my
through it
website.
all.
Sorry.
Yeah. Of course, I've been through it all in a short
Yeah,
amount of
exactly. So
time.
maybe tell us a little bit about that. I think it would
I'll
be,
tell you about my journey. Yeah. So I started out with an organization called Thuispop. I'm also going to play for them tomorrow. And Thuispop actually just lit the fire. Basically, they have a Zoom-based concert, or actually a festival that they set up every last Friday of the month, and they invited me over to play. Um, and It gave me a chance to to get to know how that works. So that's where I found out that in order to sell your tickets, you should not only put it on your timeline, because I noticed nobody was buying any tickets when I put it on my timelines. So I had to actually, what I told you before, send out messages to everybody,
yeah,
and that really works. And then the tickets started to come in. Um, what I got from Thuispop was especially like 7 days, starting from a week before the show, I got daily updates for how many tickets were sold.
mhm.
Uh, 30. I can tell you because this is. Is this is this something? It will go out for everybody, right? So I'll
Yeah,
say
it's
just a
live.
certain. All right, a
We're
certain
not like,
amount of the money goes to them,
yeah,
which is fine because they are organizing it. So
yeah,
so that's how I started. Then uh, I think 1.5 months later, because I got so many nice reactions from people. They were like, "Oh, I really needed this. I missed it. It felt like going to a real show." And that's actually something, I know you don't like Zoom very much, but the people that were on Zoom, um, because let me tell you, Zoom is also difficult for the audience. So it's something that people have to learn to use, and it's not really user friendly in that sense.
I agree.
But once the people that were on there, they really enjoyed it because they were able to share their image, their feed with everybody else. You know, it's
Yes.
like it's a group, and that gives it more of a live feeling than if you go on YouTube or Facebook. So that's the difference with Zoom, and people really missed the fact that they could say something back or that they could see other people enjoy it, and that works really well with Zoom. So I decided to do another Zoom concert, but then, of course, Thuispop, I already done that, so they wouldn't ask me twice, and I was like, okay, I'll do it myself. I have my own website, rohalfhide.com.
Check
Check
it
it
out.
out. Yeah, and it's on the Wix platform. So people who don't know, Wix is one of the major leaders in website
Do-it-yourself websites.
do-it-yourself website builders. There's Squarespace. There's Bandzoogle, which is also really good. I've heard, and their Bandzoogle is really geared towards musicians, and Wix is just really like a very generic
Maybe you can
platform for
send me the
everybody.
link later.
Yeah, I will. I will. So I already beforehand I already made sure that people could buy stuff on my website through Wix. But for some reason, they couldn't use Ideal. I thought it wasn't possible with Wix because they are from, I believe, the United States or something, or
Yeah.
Israel. And so I was like, I will use Eventbrite because I can't use Ideal, and most of my fans are Dutch, and they cannot use or won't use or don't know how to use PayPal. So
Yeah.
which is weird, but anyways, because Ideal is already here, and Ideal is so simple that people are like, well, I have Ideal, so I don't need PayPal. And so um, I used Eventbrite. They have Ideal as well. I
Yeah.
don't know if Eventbrite is international actually, but anyways,
Well,
they have a
if I can
yeah
make a suggestion for you, if you have a
yeah
Dutch bank account, you can do something that's called betaalverzoek. That means like a payment request
yeah
that lasts for an entire month. And you can
oh
have a
yeah
link to it on your website, and then people can pay through
Ah,
iDeal with that, and then you don't
yeah
pay any commission fees. So that's a, but then you'd have to
hmm,
update it for each and every concert, right? You'd have to create a new betaalverzoek for each
yeah
concert,
yeah
pay request, and then put it on your website. I do that with the choir. So when we are having events with the choir, or when people want to sign up for tryouts, so instead of implementing a whole WooCommerce uh, platform into the WordPress website, because it's
yeah
expensive. You don't want to pay 200 euros a month, a year, or 250 per year just to have access for these 20 people who are coming for tryouts. So
yeah
we do that. We do it like that, and it works. People do that. So you can have like an optional, like a PayPal link
yeah.
and a payment request link next to it.
Well, that's a good way of doing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, and
Yeah.
you have to make sure though. I'll explain later how I did it. But first, Eventbrite has its
Yeah.
downsides, is that it's expensive, and also that there's many click-throughs. So you have to
Yes.
when it's on your website, you promote it on your website, but first then the customer would have to click on the link on your website, then they go to Eventbrite, and then they have to click further there
Yes.
to buy the ticket. So it's and I noticed from people, because people are really like that. They're like, they'll add me back, like they'll send me messages like, I cannot do it, it's too difficult.
Yes.
So it it really is like that. So I at a certain moment I was like, let's see if I can get Ideal why can I not get Ideal on my Wix platform on my own website? So I actually went to the customer service through Wix, and they were really very professional, and I got it to work. So I was
Oh,
like,
great.
okay, yeah. So halfway, I actually changed the whole process of buying tickets. The show was not there yet, so I decided to change it. So there was Eventbrite, and there was also my own website. And actually, my own website, the tickets were a bit cheaper because there was much less money hanging, like getting stuck with Eventbrite. So
Yeah,
so I
you can give a discount on your ticket because you don't
yeah,
pay a third party to process your payments. Yeah.
exactly. There was some processing because Stripe is doing it, which is
Yeah.
this
But that's
international.
3% or
Yeah, it's not much.
1.9% if it's a European
Yeah,
credit
so
card.
it's not much at all.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was really happy with that. People were like, okay, this is easy. It works really easy. And just as with Eventbrite, with Wix as well, you get your admin is taken care of. So people have to fill in their names and their email um, before they buy a ticket. And you need that because you need to have the information. It's important to have the information of the people who come to your show. These are people who are willing to invest in you in your career, and so they're very important customers. So you have to have their information, and yeah,
And send them
that's
newsletters.
send them newsletters, put them on the mailing list. Um, plus, you know you now know which people have actually bought tickets of all the people that have responded to you that
Yes.
they would buy tickets. And some of them have not yet done it yet, or they didn't, they forgot about it. So it's a bit of work, but what you can do is you can just check out the list, like all the people who have responded to your WhatsApp message or your Facebook message, and they said they would buy it, or people who talk to you in person that they would buy it, and the people who have actually bought it. And then the people who have not bought it yet, you have to send them a message like, hey, how's it going? Did you already buy a ticket? Stuff like
Yeah.
that, you know. Uh, because genuinely people still want to buy the ticket. They just forget, life just gets in between. So
That's
you
true.
have to, yeah, you shouldn't take it personal. It's they just forget, and so you have to help them out. And
Yeah, it's true for a
yeah,
lot of things in the music business, I think, because you
yeah,
hear a lot of no, and
yeah,
you gotta
I guess so.
start learning to cope with that negativity.
Exactly, it's very important
One of the
because
biggest
it's.
lessons of my course is no means not yet.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I saw that. No, and that is so you. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how I know you. It's like it's you're the kind of person that if you're on the airport and you're with your instrument, and the person behind the desk says, well, that instrument needs to go in the hull. You're like, no, I don't think so, and you'll make it happen that it will be on the plane, on the top deck or something like. And I'm the kind of person naturally that says, well, okay, I'll give it to you. You know what I mean? And that's something you shouldn't do. You should always fight for.
Yeah, always have
Uh,
your instrument with you, man. I've
yeah,
seen them throw my instrument. You know how they
but
call it in the Fight Club movie? They call them throwers, the people who can't throw
people
a
were.
punch.
Yeah, and the same thing goes with all kinds of setbacks in your music career
Yeah,
or any career for that matter. Just no means not yet. So if someone says no, yeah, you're right. It's well, I disagree. I think we should talk this over. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to happen exactly then, right? Like, for
yeah.
instance, I'll give you an example. I did this
Mm-hmm.
what's it called? Popronde Festival in the
Hmm.
Netherlands, right? You played in
Mm-hmm.
that festival many times. It's like a traveling festival. It goes
Yeah,
between cities.
I'm in the jury. I'm in the jury.
Ah, no, you see.
Yeah,
So then I applied to play in that festival 5 times. So 4 times I got rejected.
yeah.
But the only thing I've done was to just reapply every year. I didn't bug them. I didn't call them and say, "Hey, we should talk it over." I just kept on applying.
I think
And then
I even told you like just reapply. I mean, they write everything down. They know exactly when you applied, and at a
yeah,
certain point they'll be like, we cannot deny this anymore. Well, yeah,
yeah,
it works.
exactly.
It works.
And it works. And then I got an email from the artistic director of the festival on the fifth year saying, like, I'm so happy you applied because I wanted to program you for 4 years. But in any of these years, I didn't have a place for you. There was not a
No.
suitable stage. There was not, uh, the backline was a problem. I was traveling with a keyboard and
Yeah.
they wanted to put me in places that were suitable for my music. And then in the previous years, he felt like he couldn't offer me something sustainable. And then he said,
Mm-hmm.
well, this year I can offer you 8 shows. So I'm happy that you applied. And,
That's
I
right.
think that's a good example.
Yeah, yeah.
J-
It's a good
Yeah.
example. You
Just
shouldn't
do
take.
it with
Yeah,
grace. Like don't
yeah. With
say
grace, that's for
to people,
sure.
hey, you have
Yeah.
to get, no, it's not going to work. But if you do
No,
it
people remember
gracefully
that. Yeah.
and with integrity, it will work eventually.
Yeah,
Respect side. Yeah.
you never know what is in the mindset of the people that deny you. Because it could be that, for instance, like you said, that they don't have the good infrastructure for your music, or it could be that they already have lots of people in your lane, so they're like, oh,
Exactly.
sorry, but maybe next time. It's like that. Um, yeah, it's there's many reasons why people say no,
Yeah,
and
like if you apply to a jazz festival with a piano trio, you better be sure there are 40 other piano trios that applied. So
yeah,
it's a regular formation. I was playing with a piano trio at a time. So then it's logical that you
yeah,
won't have that because you have to compete with a lot of others. And
exactly.
you got to keep your eyes open because like if you only make your career about that one festival. Oh my God, they didn't accept me, so I'm probably not good. I mean, like,
Yeah,
even if you do play in this festival, how many times can you play in that one festival? 1 or 2 times during your whole
yeah,
life. It's
yeah,
even if you
true.
play there 10 times, it's still not enough to make a living from that one festival. So I'd say
No,
branch out, make research,
yeah,
build a
yeah,
feasible tour route. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's important. So yeah, that's like so basically with everything. Also, try to keep try to keep the information for yourself. You've probably heard this before, but it's really important to have to be the owner, to have ownership of the customer information,
Yes.
of the information of your audience.
Yeah.
And uh, with Thuispop, I didn't get the information because
There you go.
they're not allowed even, it's their information. They're not allowed to share it. So,
Yeah, there are
and
the
that's a,
GPRD, what's it called? Yeah,
yeah.
that,
So
yeah,
it's logical. It's not, I mean, it's what it is, but it's, of course, it's a big downside to use other platforms to yeah, for your shows. I think I haven't done many theater shows, but I think there it's probably the same problem, right? I mean,
yeah,
the theater has the ticket information,
of course.
and that's a big problem.
And you don't have any.
You actually want to have that yourself. So how do
Yeah.
you get that?
Well, actually, if
uh,
I would have had all the information of all the people I've performed to,
yeah,
I don't know,
yeah,
last 15 years, 17 years, I would have like a million addresses. I'm not kidding, about
exactly.
a million people.
Yeah, yeah, I saw it in your on your website. 1 million people. I
Yeah.
was like, what? Really? Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's a wealth of information, and you should get as much as possible because Nobody's going to help you out, you know. And the theater wants it for itself because
Sure.
they need it for their survival basically. And
Yeah.
so basically, if nowadays the theaters are closed and you have to do live streaming, so try to do it yourself instead of go to a theater and ask them, can I do live streaming with you?
Yes.
Because then the difference, the amount of people, of more people that you'll get is not as much as doesn't weigh up to the fact that you'll get your own information once you organize your own show.
And if you do have a theater show when it's public, then I would say
Hmm.
have a little stand outside the hall, and immediately as people file out of the hall, ask them to sign up for your newsletter. So then maybe
Yeah.
8 to 10% of the people will sign up. This is how I got my mailing list, which is more than 14,000 people, because these people signed up for my mailing list. I didn't
Yeah.
like I've done it quite regularly, but there was a gap of a few years that I didn't do it. And I
Wow.
regret not doing these years because I think I could have
Yeah.
doubled my mailing list by now.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a lot of people though, eh?
Yeah,
14,000. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Then.
yeah. And if I can brag for a second, I think the most important
Yeah.
thing is not the amount of people that you have, but the how many people actually open your newsletter.
Of
And
course.
and
Very
I
important.
must say that I just sent one yesterday, and I have a
Mm-hmm.
52%
Fifty
opening
percent.
rate,
Still.
which is
Still.
amazing for me. I mean,
Still.
like I would never imagine that so many people will be interested in what
Yeah.
I
I mean,
say.
you have a very large mailing list, and then 50% is a lot.
50% is a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So
So when
I
I was
have.
filming my course, I had the 36 or 37%. So I'm saying that on the course, like, hey, look at me, I have this and that. I can teach you how to do that. And then in the
Yeah.
meantime, since I published the course in January 2019 and 2020, so it's a
Yeah.
year ago, um, so it grew to 52%. And like, in a way, the pandemic helped getting closer to people online because it's like a jumpstart 15%. It's a
That's true.
it, that's
Uh,
huge.
People are also more online now, so now is the time to grab their attention online because they have nowhere else to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so learn how to stream also. That's important. I I I hear of a lot of people, a lot of artists that find it difficult or uninspiring to stream their show,
yeah, I can
and
understand.
of course I understand it as well. But yeah, it's there's really no alternative at the moment. So
Yeah,
except bringing out music, but I mean that's it's not an alternative. It's something you have to do as well. So
yeah.
um, I think yeah. So yeah,
I think people don't like it because it's new. Of course, I understand that you have a distance between you and your audience. It's not like a live show, but with everything new, you have a barrier. Like you immediately say, I don't want to do it. I don't want to learn how to do it. And the sooner you learn to do it is better. The sooner you get over yourself and the barriers.
yeah. And if you're living in the Netherlands or if you're willing to travel to The Hague, we have a live streaming theater. So
Yeah, I want to come.
yeah, you should.
Do you have a
Yeah.
piano?
Well, we have a Yamaha C3.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, good enough for you.
Yeah, it's better than most venues. It's not seven, but
Yeah. Now the thing is, the owner of the theater, his father is is a piano tech,
uh,
and a piano probably also sells pianos. He's got a couple of them. He also has a Steinway and all kinds of stuff. So, but
yeah,
the C3 is um, at the moment downstairs in the theater. But if for some reason the artist needs a Steinway, then it's possible to change it up.
Mm.
So that's crazy, isn't it?
That's amazing. I
Yeah,
had
I
played
believe
at
so.
the Manchester Jazz Festival, and they asked me which piano I would like to get.
Yeah,
I'm like,
exactly.
yeah. Well, I have some thoughts.
Yeah, and they're probably able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was fun.
So, yeah, there is a piano. We're still. I mean, we haven't really. I mean, tomorrow it's going to be the first real stream, so we're just starting out, which has a the upside for that is of course that we're still testing and stuff like that. So if somebody wants to help test it out, we're still willing to do this for a limited amount of money or whatever. We can always work something out. And
Yeah. So
yeah,
put the link in
it's
the
just starting out.
comments, and then where people can find you.
Yeah, I will. We,
Yeah.
we, we don't even have a website yet, so I'll put it on my own
Okay.
website then.
Also, just an email address. It's also good.
Yeah, I can do that.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's so live streaming. I mean, we're still not out of the woods yet. It's
Yeah.
gonna take a while. And also, live streaming is here to stay. That's what
I
I read all over the place. So we're gonna go towards hybrid. They call it hybrid shows.
yes.
So what you get is you get like, for instance, Beyonce is playing somewhere. She won't be
Hmm.
touring all the world anymore because it's too expensive nowadays. She'll just go to a couple of places and then she'll have a live stream for all the people who are not able to make it.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, our theater downstairs is not actually built for live streaming. It's a real theater. They have real theater chairs, and so there's an audience that can sit there. So
So you
we
can
can
do hybrid shows as well.
we can do hybrid shows for. It's going to be no problem at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
PA system there. It's all. Um, yeah, so it's possible to do that in the future when
Yeah.
audiences are able to travel to concerts again.
Yeah.
Let's
I
hope.
hope that will happen soon, man.
Yeah,
I
me
miss
too.
it.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, and yeah, if there's any questions, yeah, you can always hit me up about live streaming. Yeah,
Nice. Thank you for that. There's actually
yeah,
like a back-end community on my course that music professionals get access to. So if you'd like to have access, I could give you a user, and then people sometimes post their questions in the back end. It's like a social media group, right? But it's
I'd
a
love
private
to.
one. And
I would love
then
to.
there are some artistic directors and programmers that are part of this group. And maybe if people want to hit you up about questions with live streaming or anything else, you could answer it there.
I would feel honored, really.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'd be honored.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure there's lots more to talk about. We've just hit the we've only hit the live streaming and to have your own website to own your own uh, ticket information.
Yeah. And keep
Um,
people on your website, which is important, not send them out to third party
yeah,
apps. Sending out
yeah,
newsletters, which is super important. I actually recommend the
yeah.
same with crowdfunding. A lot of people do their crowdfunding on external websites and they end up not getting
Hmm.
the contact information of the people that supported their crowdfunding, which
Oh,
is, I think,
that
crazy.
is crazy. That shit's crazy. That's crazy. So you're saying that if I use For de Kunst, you probably know it.
Yes.
You know For de Kunst, right?
I
It's
never
a
used it,
Dutch.
but I
Me
know it.
neither.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a Dutch GoFundMe uh, lookalike.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you don't get the information of the people?
No, you don't
Oh,
get the information. They get between 5 and 15% of your fee that was collected. So with For de Kunst, I know for sure it's 9%. But then on top of
9%.
that
Okay.
9%, you have about 3 to 5% extra, which is like the bank fees and the transfer fees. So all the
Yeah.
Stripe fees or whatever other platforms, Send Owl, I don't know, whatever they're using, e-commerce is being accumulated. So actually, 9 plus 5 is 14. And if the website takes 15, then you're up to 19% or 20% of your profits that are taken away from you. And usually you don't get a lot of exposure to other people through these websites. So it is possible that 2 or 3 people will just see your project
Yeah.
and fund you on that
Exactly.
website. But mostly these websites gain from your exposure. So
Of
you bring clients
course.
to them.
Of course. It's always like that.
Yeah.
I never browse around for the Kunst like the For the Kunst website or any other GoFundMe website to just check out like, oh, whom can I go fund? No, of course
Yeah.
not. No, exactly. It's a friend, and I'm willing to spend some of my sparse money, for
Yeah.
them because I really think, okay, I really need to support him, and then he'll do something nice back for me. That's of course the other side.
Yeah.
And then I go the hell out of that that website. I immediately click on the cross button. Like, okay, go on. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
And so you can probably put the whole system up on your own website.
Yeah. It's not
Not
difficult.
sure. No.
You
Hmm.
just create a page
Yeah.
and uh, and then have different products. If you work with WooCommerce, for instance, just have different products with the amount that you would like to offer. Let's say 50
Right.
euros, you get a CD and a T-shirt, and a ticket
Ah,
to the
so you
party.
mean to say it's like a web store?
It's like a web
It's
store.
basically a web store.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same.
You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
just
yeah. Of
set
course.
a store page on your website and then to put a video and a nice story uh, around it, and then have a sidebar with all the products.
Because I have on the Wix platform, you can build a web store. You can do
Exactly.
that, and so you can just put in the services, and one of the
Yeah.
services would be, for instance, the thing that I spent money on, Colin Hoover. He wanted to get funding for a video clip,
Yeah.
and the thing I paid him to do was to do a live stream serenade, like a WhatsApp serenade, put it that way,
Yeah.
for someone. I did it for my
That's sweet.
girlfriend. Yeah, it was really nice, and that's a great gift. But you can just put that up as a product. Yeah, you're right. And
Exactly.
then um, actually the whole thing of getting to establishing a date, stuff like that. We all did that on WhatsApp, so that's not necessary on
Yeah.
the website. Um,
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you can do the whole funding.
On your own.
You can actually not just you shouldn't treat it as crowdfunding. You should treat it as basically a shop, and this is a shop, and it's a service. You get a
Yeah.
couple of
Well,
services, and
the crowdfunding gives it momentum, right? Because people feel that it's a
oh
campaign.
yeah, there you go.
But
That's important. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
important to
that's a
create
good one.
momentum.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you could also have these products on your online store just as products. So
yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't separate, like you can separate them, but you can also mix and match whatever works for you.
And you would
Um,
like to have, of course, the little bar that says like, okay, how far are we, stuff like that,
yeah.
to create
Well,
momentum.
this is something you would have to either update yourself if
Yeah,
you don't want to pay
by
for
hand.
because there are crowdfunding plugins that cost about 200
Plugins.
euro.
Okay.
I wouldn't like to pay that much just to have a
No,
bar on my
it's a
website
lot.
that says I just
Yeah.
update the amount myself every time somebody contributes.
Yeah, you can probably just update. Yeah, there's probably something there to create some sort of a bar. I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably already there.
Well, if you have it,
Great.
let me know. It'll save me
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is a good idea. Okay. Yeah. So GoFundMe for the kunst. Don't do it. Do
Yeah,
it
do it on your
yourself.
site.
You get all the people that are willing to pay you. You get their email address. Yeah, and you don't have
Uh,
to pay any money for
yeah,
for
only
the
for the transaction fee.
platform. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And
All
then
that's
you also get
yeah,
traction to your website. So you
yeah,
get more people visiting your website and they know next time they want to check out something about your music, they're going to go to your website. This is also the reason why my new album is not on Spotify. It's
Is it
not on
not?
Apple Music.
What?
It's only available on my website.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I know. I released one single and it's on the streaming services.
Yeah,
And and I said, well, I'm releasing an album. There's one single. You can listen on whatever platform you like, and then buy the
yeah.
record on my store.
Ah, is it
Yeah.
the Sephardic original tunes?
This one is yet to come. So the one that before that, the traditional Sephardic
The
album,
traditional Sephardi. Yeah.
is nowhere to be found. Only on my website. So when somebody Googles, I want to buy Andalusian brew, they get to my website. They don't get like so. I enjoy the exposure, the traction from Google search as well. So not only from random people who
And
look for my website specifically.
yeah, and this album, of course, is also uh, gained a lot of traction also,
Yeah.
because it's a very important album for the culture. So
Yes.
people are like, yeah, it's not just a simple album from a singer-songwriter. No, this is quite a special cultural event, I believe,
I
because
hope
this
so.
music. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So, because this music is not being played that much anymore, right? So
Yeah. It's a
so
dying language. So I'm glad to
exactly, yeah,
revive
yeah.
it.
Let's hope it doesn't die out, right? I mean,
Yeah. Well, I just heard that there was a newspaper, a Latino newspaper in Turkey, El Amancer, and they stopped publishing, I think, in 2005. And just
hmm,
last month, they started publishing again. So after 16 years of break,
yeah,
they decided to get back to it. And I
great,
hope this is a part of the revival, I
of
hope people
course,
are interested to read it. Yeah.
yeah. Hmm, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
gives me
And there will be
goosebumps.
a new, yeah, sorry, what?
It gave me goosebumps to hear
Ah,
that.
thanks. Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, so but you're saying you're not putting your album on the streaming platforms.
no.
Well, I have to say probably most artists already know this, but the streaming platforms don't pay anything.
Yeah.
Basically, they try to keep all their money, or they have already given it to the major labels because they have given already money to the major labels.
Yeah.
They have contracts with the major labels, and so
They
you
keep
have to treat
82% of the profits.
82%. Hmm. And they try to keep more because they have all kinds of. At least Spotify is. They're the worst because they have installed this new uh, function where you can play a pay to play, basically.
Mm.
It's pay to play, and there's this option where you pay out of your streaming fees. So they keep more of your streaming fees, basically.
Wow.
And in return, they will put you up in the advertised section, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
I
no, that
I
not that. It's actually not advertised. Sorry, it's they'll play you more often in the what is it the
like this.
uh when you're done streaming when you're done with your playlist
Yeah.
the Spotify doesn't
Offers.
stop it goes on, right,
Okay. It's like
with
offering you tracks that are similar.
similar, yeah, and
Yeah.
then you'll be bumped
Suggestions.
to the top, yeah,
Yeah.
suggestions basically
Yeah.
starts. So that's horrific basically.
I never liked them. I never liked them from the start. So my first two albums were released on these platforms, but that's because I was working with a distributor. So like an
Mm-hmm.
official distributor that also distributed to the CD stores. Now we don't have a lot of CD stores anymore,
Yeah.
but after that I took the distribution to myself. So I don't. I have a licensing agreement with Shango Music for the previous record, and for I think for the upcoming one there will be no licensing agreement. I think I'm just going to do it entirely on my own and
Yeah.
function as the label itself because so much is being taken from your fee. Like the first record, you remember Daily Sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't earn any money, nothing, zero.
No.
I never got any money from making this record. It took me 3 years of work and I didn't get
Yeah.
anything back.
Yeah.
And with Love Migration, I already covered the cost of making the record before I released it with, crowdfunding. And then the same
Yeah.
went for Andalusian Brew. We already had all the profits before, well, all the expenses covered before we released the album. So from the moment you sell the first copy, you're already making an income as a musician, and that's very important for independent musicians to do.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
And if you sell 10 copies, you've already earned more than lots of other
Yeah.
artists that are, you know, on Spotify.
Yeah.
Uh,
There was
it's
an
that
article
weird.
in The Guardian just like 3 weeks ago, and they
Mm-hmm.
said that big, big songwriters, like people
Mm-hmm.
who wrote for Kylie Minogue and stuff like this,
The
uh,
songwriters, yeah, they even
yeah,
get paid even worse. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So they got £100 for the whole year from
For
the streaming services, and you think like,
for
hey,
a number one record. Yeah.
on a
Mm-hmm.
number one Billboard record, and then you think
Yeah.
like, what is
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
on in the world? How is that possible? Where is that money going?
Yeah, and that's because the songwriters are different from the how do you say the people who own
Master rights.
the master rights. That's basically
Yeah.
it. Uh, for a number one record, that would mostly be the label.
Yeah, but I own my
And
master rights besides the first
hmm,
record.
yeah,
So all of them, and of course
that's
the
good.
the records that have been published as movie soundtracks. So then of course the
Of
production
course.
company, and then it's 50-50. So they own 50% of the
Oh, really?
master. But all my
Okay.
independent releases besides the first album, I own all of them. I
That's
registered
that's not
myself
bad.
in the record federation as a body that releases CD. Let's say as a label, but not really a label. But I have my own ISRC code and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm. Okay.
it's important.
Uh,
I would recommend it. It costs a lot of money, but I think it's
yeah.
worth it in the long run
Right.
because it's a one-time fee, right? And then you make royalties for the rest of your lives.
Um, can you maybe elaborate a bit more? Because is that like something has this to do with Stemra? The
I think the people who collect the master rights in the Netherlands is Sena, right?
no, Buma or Stemra.
Okay, so I'm not registered with them, so I don't know. I'm registered with Akum, which is an Israeli company,
Ah,
and I'm
okay.
registered with the Record Federation, which is the
Hmm.
people who collect the master rights. So you have
Yeah.
to apply to have your own registration as a label,
Yeah.
as a distributor, and then you own the master rights, and you get your code, your ISRC code, your own ISRC code, and then you, according to whatever tracks you release for the rest of
Mm-hmm.
your life, you're using the same code with different digits after it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
regarding to, depending on the year and the date that you release the CD or the
Yeah.
track. And then you pay this one-time fee, which is about 1,000 euros, but you eventually make, I don't know, between 300 and 2,000 euros a year from master royalties because your songs are being played. So in the long run, it's a good investment because you will make that money back.
Yeah.
if you are your own distributor.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. Yeah.
So a lot of people would just pay like 75 euros to the distributor to get temporary ISRC codes that are related to the distributor, because they say, as an independent musician, I already spent 8,000 euros on my record. I don't want to pay
Mm.
another 1,000 just to get an ISRC code. But
Right.
eventually, who is getting the money for your recording is the person with the ISRC code.
Yeah.
So it's pretty important to have your own branding in that sense, your own code.
Good.
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, okay.
It's
I'll
all
think
in
that
the
over.
course, people. You got to check out the course.
I did not take the course, I have to say,
Yeah, not
but
yet.
it looked very interesting. Yeah, it did look very interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
uh, we were talking about uh, albums, Spotify not being very interesting. So you've got your album out on your website,
Yes.
and is it a physical album that you sell, or is it a streaming or
Both.
downloadable album?
People can either
Both.
download or order a physical copy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And in your do lots of people still order physical?
Most sales are for physical copy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Because when people buy a product, they do it because they want to support you and they want to have
yeah.
a memento. They want to have something that symbolizes you. Because, like, if you download an album, the next time you're going to back up your phone, it's going to lie
Yeah,
in the
it's
hard
gone.
drive. It's
Yeah,
not going to stay there. And if you have a nice
yeah.
package, with beautiful photos and as a personal note from the artist, it's a memento. It's something that lasts, and you can put it on your shelf and it will stay there forever.
That's true.
Yeah.
But people don't really play CDs anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, and vinyl is actually on its way back. Is that something that you're thinking of?
I don't have vinyl records, but I think that's mainly because of practical reasons. I believe that touring with a lot of gear is not very viable. So you end up
Hmm.
paying a lot of fees on extra weight when you travel. And also,
Of
most of
course.
my trips I do on my own. So that means I would have to carry it around. And if I put
Ah,
5 vinyl records in my suitcase, it's maxed out. And instead, I can have 35 CDs. So
ah, yeah.
people buy the 35 CDs. And if I will only have 5 vinyls to sell, I will be out of merchandise very quickly, unless
Yeah,
I ship
yeah.
it in advance. I've done that when I toured in the US and in Canada. I shipped CDs over before the tour because I didn't want to pay the extra fees. And also, you might end up paying on customs on your own product if they see that you bring in a large quantity of CDs. But then some of the shows went great. So 70% of the tour was sold out, but it only happened in the second leg of the tour. So the first leg of the tour, I was carrying all the packages from all the places that I've sent. I had to carry them with me to the next destination for 3 weeks.
Ah,
It was not very nice, I
yeah, yeah. You sent them in advance. Like
Yeah, I
if I
shipped
go
them.
to New York, I've got a package there. Yeah, and
Yeah,
you hope to finish it off, but you have to bring them with you because you didn't
yeah,
sell enough. Yeah, yeah, I get
exactly.
you. And maybe I'm just thinking out loud. Maybe it's a good idea in the future because CDs are really on their way out. But you do need a token. I think you're right
Yeah,
about that. To create something else, like a booklet, for instance,
yeah. I'm gonna do that. I'm making a book
with,
with
without
translations of the
without
lyrics.
CD basically,
Yeah.
and then a book with like a QR code somewhere
Hmm.
where you can get the CD.
Yeah.
The not the CD.
A
The word
booklet.
CD should go. Where you could get the album. Something like
Yeah.
that. Is that an idea? I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I'm actually making one now. So
Oh,
it's gonna be with the new album. It's going to be all the lyrics in Ladino and the translations of these songs, and then
Yeah.
also all the lyrics from the previous album, the traditional album, and the translation of those, and this little bit story, historical background about what Ladino is, etc. So it's going to be like a little book, 50 pages, about what Ladino
Oh,
is and some songs.
that's very interesting. I think with that whole project, that works really well because people are craving for that information, of course.
Yeah,
So they'll be very happy to get that.
I agree. And people
Yeah.
always ask me why aren't there lyrics in the record? Because well, I didn't put the lyrics in it originally because then it will become a huge product. You know, like
Yeah.
if you have a CD, you also have to think about carrying it around on tour and sending it by post when somebody buys it on your website, right? So if you're under 50 grams, you only need to use two stamps. But if you're above that, you're already pushing the four stamps, and that becomes a very expensive product to ship, and it's
Mm-hmm.
more likely to either get ruined by post or not to get to the destination because there will be custom problems because everything after be above 50 grams is being weighed and reevaluated. And
Okay.
another issue is that when you take it on tour, if you have 50 grams and you can take 2 kilos of CDs, there's only a certain amount of CDs that you can take in 2 kilos, right? And then
Yeah.
if the product is 150 grams, then you can only take a third of the CDs you would take otherwise.
But how are you going to do that with the book? Because
Yeah.
that's going to be heavy.
Yeah. So
Or
well, right now there are no shows. So now, right now it's going to be available only on the website, and then I think I will only carry a few of them around as
mm-hmm.
extra, and then still carry like I don't know 50 CDs with me to the concert, and then bring 5 or 10 books, and I'll do it
Yeah.
in shows that are viable. I won't ship 150 books to the US, you know, unless
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, unless it's
And
viable.
and this is a bit of a technical question, but the books, are they how are you going to print them? Uh,
How am I going to print them?
yeah.
In a print shop, just a regular print shop.
Okay. But is it going to be in color or?
Yeah, it's going to be in color. You know, there are a lot of services online that you can order a book. You give in your material.
Ah, those are the ones that print. They do a digital print of the book instead of
Yeah,
uh, yeah, it's cheaper when you do that when you have a low uh, amount of books that you need, like
yeah,
if you need like 100 books or something, or yeah,
yeah.
that's interesting.
I'm not gonna order 3,000 books, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly, yeah.
yeah, decent amount, and then see how it works.
Okay. Well, I've got a new idea then. That's because I'm always thinking like I don't want to make another CD because I think most people won't be able to play it anymore.
Yeah,
And but to just have nothing and only have a website with your music,
yeah,
that's also a bit lame, so to speak.
yeah. You need the merchandise. You need the physical product to
Yeah, you need
because
physical
it
product.
helps the imagination, I think. The
Mm-hmm.
website is too literal. You see all these photos and everything looks greater than life. And CDs and intimate, when you're listening to the music, you have an intimate experience with the art, and it's different. It doesn't bombard you
Yeah.
with information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice. And you got me lots to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So
Um,
let's say this was the serious part of the interview, and I also have a fun part.
Tell me.
And so I have this series of 10 questions that I borrowed from Bernard Pivot. It's a talk show host from the 60s, French talk show. And
Okay.
these are questions that you're supposed to reply with the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay. Interesting.
Ready?
Nice. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So what's your favorite word?
Red.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to know why.
Look at this. No, it's my favorite color. I don't know. I don't know. It
Nice.
just came up. Yeah.
What's your least favorite word?
Closure.
Wow.
Don't know. Don't know why.
I love it. I like your answers already.
Oh dear. Okay.
What turns you on, creatively, emotionally, or spiritually?
Um, yeah. Birds.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, birds are
Yeah.
cool. What
Yeah.
turns you off?
What turns me off?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Toilets.
What's your
You're
favorite
writing all
color?
this down?
Yeah, sorry, what?
You're writing all this down, huh?
No, I'm not. No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
What's my
Uh,
favorite curse word?
yes,
Ah, yeah. Fuck. Fuck.
it's a good one.
Yeah.
I use it too. I
Ah,
curse a lot.
nice.
Well, if you listen to the previous podcast, I was quite polite with you, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Uh, what sound or noise do you love?
I love the noise of a spinning cat. Do you call it a spinning cat? Or
What's a spinning cat?
no. It's we call it spinning in Dutch. The noise the cat makes when he or she is enjoying.
Spinning. I don't know that word spinning in
Uh,
Dutch. I'm gonna check it out.
well, but that's
Purring?
in
Is it
Dutch it's spinning. Sorry?
purring?
Oh yeah, that's it. Purring. Yeah,
Yeah,
purring.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great sound.
Yeah, I love that.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, I hate these high-pitched noises. Um, yeah, I hate it. I hate the noise of feedback.
Yes, I hate that too. I hate the
Yeah.
sound of doing the dishes. That's
Ah, okay, yeah.
clank, clank. That's horrible.
Okay.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh, I'd love to be. I'd love to be um, an animator to
Wow,
make animations.
that's a lot of patience, man. Do you have that patience?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah. I made an animation actually. I did. I made. I used lockdown to learn animation a little bit, and I made an animation for small kids that I teach. And I put something on YouTube because kids only use YouTube and schools as well. And it's like a little demo of a song that they need to learn. And I was like, well, if I only put the picture in, like a picture of something,
Yeah.
and it's a bit boring. So I said, well, maybe I should make a small animation. And that's when the rabbit hole started. I was like, how do you make animations? Like, okay. And then I ended up with the most professional program that everybody uses,
Wow.
Toon Boom Studio. And there's this, I used the free trial version, and I made an animation.
Wow. I want to see it.
I'll send the link.
Yeah, please.
It's the first thing I tried, so it's the beginning of the beginning of the animation is more simple, and it became more elaborate at the end because I learned along the way. So, and I
Cool.
didn't want to start over because it's a
Yeah,
lot of
that's the
work.
part of
That
the
you're right about
patience
that.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was like nah, because I also didn't want to keep the kids waiting so long. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. What profession other than your own would you not like to do?
Um, mm, yeah, I was thinking uh, uh, to be the garbage man, but I don't know why I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's probably a nice job. It
Yeah.
just came up.
Yeah, it
That
is a
that's huh?
smelly
What?
job.
But it's probably my upbringing that tells me that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with people being garbage man.
Well, actually, they're heroes because they do all the
Yeah,
things
yeah,
we don't
yeah,
want
they
to
are.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I probably would love it but it's more a fear. It's more a
Yeah.
fear of that. So
Maybe. I
because
think
I
I
think
wouldn't
in the
like to
end,
be a plumber. That sounds also very stinky to me.
a plumber. Yeah, 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 yeah. I also don't want to be. Indeed, I don't want to be um, the how do you say that? People who are undertaking house renovation stuff like that.
Oh yeah, construction worker.
Construction kind of work, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
a lot of
I
noise as
know,
well.
true, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of dust. But I know
Yes.
lots of people who love to do it. So this is something I really that's. But I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I dated someone who did it once, and what I really liked about it is that when he would come home, he would be so grounded. The energy of the person,
Okay.
like after doing physical work, was
Yeah.
so relaxed and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, grounded is probably the best word I can find. So down to earth, which is great. Like it's really nice energy to be around.
Sorry, that's my tea. No, I agree with you. It's just that in I always found it hard to be to do stuff with my hands, to be to construct things with my hands,
Yeah.
and I got into this idea that I wasn't good at it. I'm not sure if that's really true. So there's also this fear. It's basically fear based.
I guess our lives are kind of motivated by fears, small
Yeah,
fears, big
it's a bit
fears.
sad. It's a bit sad, but
Yeah.
yeah, you
But
miss
then,
out
like,
on
if
stuff.
you do things although you're afraid, then it makes sense. Then you break the
Yeah,
mice race. Yeah.
because we had our bathroom renovated, and the last day was cleanup day, so uh, all the stuff that was broken out, we had to put that in a container.
Mhm.
I helped out the construction worker, and I felt great. It felt so good to
Yeah.
do that. I was busy
Yeah.
with my body, and it was like, yeah, I felt like, yeah. So yeah, it's really weird how that goes.
Nice.
Yeah,
So my last
yeah.
question is actually my favorite question. If
Uh-huh.
heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you pass the gates?
I would welcome, son. Want to hear him say that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
you're
simple.
welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Is that what he wants? What you want him to say?
No, I want to hear now you can let go. Now you can relax.
Right. Yeah.
That's my sentence.
That's nice.
I had two different people on my podcast that answered this question in the same way. One of them was 2 weeks ago, and the other one was at the beginning, like in April. They
Yeah.
both said, "This is the beginning of a new life." I thought, are you
Oh.
serious? You want to do this again?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I mean, it's not that it's bad, it's great, but it's a lot of work.
yeah. Again. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
I thought I got somewhere, I made an achievement.
Yeah, now you can rest. That's something else. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
opposite.
yeah.
Well, great. Yeah, those are good questions.
Thanks
Yeah.
so much for being such a cool guest.
Thank you for all your wisdom because I learned some new stuff.
Well, I learned a lot of stuff from you too. So thank you for sharing your all your knowledge, and also I think the will to share is very important. You shared a lot of good vibes. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Yes.
And let's stay in touch about going to coming over to play a concert in our theater at a certain time.
Yeah, with the Yamaha C3.
Sorry? Yeah.
With the
Oh yeah.
Yamaha C3.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm looking
It's
forward to it.
actually it's actually a MIDI enabled piano as well.
So it's like the silent version of the piano.
No, no, no. It's a complete version, but it
Hmm.
has MIDI. It has MIDI. It's MIDI enabled. So
Okay,
you can. I think you can actually use it also to record
nice.
with MIDI, but you can also use it the other way around to play MIDI through it, and it will just clunk clunk clunk.
And it
It'll
plays
start
on its own?
playing.
Oh, that's
That's what I
insane,
heard.
man. It's
Yeah,
like a
that's what
drum
I heard.
set.
So if you need if you've recorded something in MIDI and you say, wow, I just want it to be played on a Steinway or a C3, yeah, you come
I
to
can send
us.
it over.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I could do that with the tracks from my new album. We couldn't record uh, a real piano because of the limitations of the studio. We recorded it in London, and then some of the players were from other countries, so there was like a limited time that they could come, and so we couldn't get all together and play in a studio. So everybody
Hmm.
recorded on their own, and it was kind of yeah. It's a strange experience to make a record like that, but because all my
Ah,
other records were live, we all played live
right.
together.
Okay, this was really like the White Album from the
Yeah,
Beatles. That's what they say. Well, I wasn't there,
well, I don't know. Like, I hope it will be as good as the White Album.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to hear it. Yeah.
thanks. I'll send
Well,
you the rough mix if you want.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I'll be interested. Yeah.
thanks.
All right. Well, I've got to hang up because I'm gonna go do some producing with Mark
Ah, say
over
hi.
Zoom. Actually, we use Zoom for that one, and it really works very well.
Nice.
Yeah.
You don't have
Uh,
latency on Zoom?
no.
Ah,
Well, I
nice.
mean, what I do basically, we don't. I don't let him play.
Mm,
I have the project on Logic,
mhm.
and I play I play the project, and we decide what to change. So it's the
Okay,
mixing and arranging process that we do,
nice,
and it really works very well in Zoom actually. So that's something that really works. But
nice.
yeah,
Yeah, share your wisdom, man. Preach.
yeah, yeah,
So hi to Mark and
yeah. That's good in real life, IRL.
real life. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
best.
that's the best. Okay,
All right.
bye bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming. So, thank you so much for joining us today on Why DIY Music. As you know, this podcast is a part of my course for independent musicians, whydiymusic.com, if you want to check it out. And it's a free resource for everyone who is aspiring to launch an independent music career. And it's basically, you can find a lot on our website, including a scholarship program for independent musicians. And if you would like to support these musicians, that they could receive a good education, you could go to ydiymusic.com/donate and make a small contribution. Starting from €7, you can support a musician for an entire year for their music career. So check it out. And you can also send a PayPal transfer to paypal.me/Noam Vazana. It's in the link below. Join me next week, Thursday, February 4th, as I'll be interviewing Juliana Volos. She's the owner of JV Promotions Agency from Germany. And tune in every Thursday at 12 o'clock CET on Facebook and on YouTube to YDIY Music Radio. Remember to check out the course for independent musicians on ydiymusic.com. And in the meantime, good luck, keep calm, and DIY.